Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Project Network. In this episode, we'll be speaking with the team from DadBod. This conversation was recorded on December 3rd, 2022, live in Discord. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of KPN directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also make sure to follow our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Welcome everybody to another AMA with Kadena Project Network. Today we have Sterling from DadBod. If you guys aren't following him on Twitter and on Twitch and stuff, you're missing out on a lot of really cool Pact development. He's really throwing his hand in to learn and educate people as much as he can about Pact, and is also making a really cool NFT game, and I just can't wait to learn more about it. So Sterling, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, a little bit of, I like to learn people's background in crypto, of how they got involved in crypto in general, and then just quick what DadBod's all about and what you're building.
Yeah, okay. I guess my background, I've been programming since I was like 11 years old, making mobile apps for iOS. I've been making games since I was 14. I just love programming, and I really do love making games. I really appreciated the little instructional blurbs that Coinbase would give you, and then they would give you some of the tokens that you just learned about, just kind of for free. So they incentivized both learning it and I guess also trading it in my case, because I would consolidate all those funds into something else. But I really love learning about the different use cases that all these different cryptocurrencies solved. And from there, being the programmer that I am, I decided to kind of deep dive further into each one of those to really figure out how they worked and how they did what they did, because the Coinbase descriptions were very high level, right? Definitely not what I was looking for as a programmer. So after day trading for a couple of months and realizing I don't really like day trading that much, I decided I'd get into developing and building and learning how these cryptocurrencies were created and all that good stuff. The first token that I made was called Stircoin, just because they made it super simple for Algorand to work. And this was before I'd learned about like smart contracts and all that good stuff. Algorand just has a way for you to mint your own token kind of out of the box, a little bit like Cardano. So I made some Stircoin, and that was pretty exciting. I'd made my own currency, minted like 1 billion Stircoin. From there, I was kind of hooked. So getting into DadBod earlier this year for Father's Day, for both my father and my father-in-law, I made a Solidity contract that was a very simple NFT contract, and I minted a DadBod for my father and my father-in-law. And I sent one to each of them so that they could both claim their DadBod. And that's led into building a game and all of this good stuff. And I built it in Solidity first, but it was very simple. There weren't any images attached. It was just so they could claim their DadBod, kind of as a joke for Father's Day. And I guess throughout this time, I found Kadena. It was honestly the technology was far and away the most game-changing that I had seen up until that point. Everyone else was just like, oh, we have faster blocks. Oh, finalization is like great. Got Hedera, who's like, we gossip and all of your stuff happens really, really fast. And you're like, you guys are so centralized, it's not even funny. I don't even want to work with you because of that. And you have Solana, where it just continuously goes down, just because they're all so centralized. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all these different players who are kind of doing cool things, I guess, but it seemed like they were just taking the same pool sets of other blockchains and just saying, can we make this exact same thing work faster? And some people have, some people haven't. But Kadena had really solved a lot of the problems that all these other people were. No one else had a chain web. I'd seen a lot of people who were working on DAGs, and one of, I'd say my mentor in the crypto space, Luke Stokes, he one of the first things he talked to me about was a DAG, and he was working on a DAG called Waterfall at the time. And now everyone knows about CAS. But CAS is still really far away from smart contracts, which is where I want to work in. And so I don't really care too much about CAS. And some people might give me flack for that. But if they don't have smart contracts, I don't really care. Being completely honest, massive use case of Web3 technology is the ability to program in a decentralized way and create smart contracts that trigger and run and mint NFTs, and really that is the future of where things are going. So CAS is way behind. So I landed on Kadena. They had solved so many problems, started programming in Pact, and decided DadBod was going to be the first major project that I personally tackled.
So the ones that you made on Solidity for your father-in-law and your father now are they already into crypto and NFTs and stuff, or is this something that you got them into through this gift kind of thing, or what's the story there?
Yeah, so my dad had wanted to make a cryptocurrency called Vitals, which was is a dynamic NFT essentially for your health, and create a way to tie all of your different health records from every single hospital you've ever visited, your daily, give you the ability to, on the daily, record your health information from Apple Watch, Fitbit, etc., and consolidate all of it into one mobile app that would pay you as you submitted this information, pay you in vital tokens. So my dad is definitely, he loves learning and cryptocurrency. Honestly, my dad actually, he wanted to buy Bitcoin, I think in like 20, he wanted to drop like $100 on it or something like that. I can't remember. My dad can tell the story, but my mom said no. She was like, "This seems like a scam. I'm not going to do that." My dad was like, "But it's only $100." I'm like, "This could be big." She's like, "Nah, we're not doing it." I don't know. I don't know how much that would be now, but a lot is, I think, a good answer. So my dad is kind of always out to learn, and I mean, getting into Bitcoin that early and learning about it that early and wanting to just kind of leap in, he's definitely someone who enjoys the adventure. So my dad has been there for a while. My father-in-law, I'm not so sure. I believe he's also someone who enjoys learning. Not as he isn't as um, carefree as my dad, but he definitely isn't dumb, and he knows about it and what it can do.
Awesome. So that is where DadBod was inspired and started. But let's get now into the art itself, because the art is, every time I look at it, I just giggle because it is definitely a dad bod. Like I just turned 40. I don't have kids, but I got the dad bod, and I was like looking at myself in the mirror the other day, like getting out of the shower, and all I could picture was one of your NFTs and being like, "Oh my god, I've got the dad bod." Now, so let's talk a little bit about where the art came from.
Yeah, so my wife has drawn all of it, simply stated. Um, I found this art style. I believe it's called flat art online through uh, a coworker, and she wanted to build a game using the flat art. And I was like, okay. I mean, this is really generally just like ovals or elongated circles and different things like that to make a very simple but pleasing and easily animatable. I don't know if that's a word. I can animate it easily in a game, essentially. And I took that style and I was like, honey, we should make DadBot based on this. Because we were trying to decide, like, should we do 3D? Should we do 2D? If we like, what would the style be if we do 3D? We could do like Fortnite kind of esque feel where everything is a bit cartoony. We could do 2D and have it be pixelated. We could do 2D and have it be more realistic. In the end, we landed on, let's do something like simplicity. And the flat art style is very simplistic, and my wife just took it and ran with it.
I look at it like geometry art because everything is just like you said. It's ovals and circles, squares and rectangles and stuff like that. Which definitely for making video like little side-scrolling games and stuff is going to make it so easy because you use frames for those and you have to tie a character to a frame. And your character pretty much already is a frame, like just an animated frame in a sense. So I've noticed too that
Yep.
you've also put out a little like teaser of a game that you've created for DadBod. Now, where it definitely ties together everything that you've been saying of wanting to educate people as well as give them something fun to play. So let's talk a little bit about the games that you're building and how that's gonna bring those things together. I thought it was super cool.
Yes. Yeah, so the game is open and available to those who are whitelisted or have the OG dad role in our server. They have access to the URL that lets them play. And we've been receiving feedback from them. Got some really good feedback already so far. So I'll give a little bit of background as well. I personally believe that games are far and away the best way to learn anything. As a kid, you don't learn by sitting in a classroom. You you have to experience it generally as a child, and you learn by experiencing it. Sometimes you can learn, like children will learn by looking at others and being like, I don't want to do what he just did because that looked painful. So you can, oh, I forgot the word, it's blanking out on me, but you can learn by observation or you can learn by experiencing, but you generally don't sit in a classroom in front of a teacher who is monologuing to you. You have to do it. And my goal is to create a game for Kadena that is very similar to what Crypto Zombies is for Solidity. Crypto Zombies, I'm not sure if you've heard of them or know about them, but they're kind of how I learned how to program in Solidity. You're basically creating an NFT project based on these different zombies, and they just lead you step by step through how to make an NFT. So Solidity has Crypto Zombies, and I would like Kadena to have DadBod. I'm designing the game in such a way that it's not wholly focused on the programming aspect like Crypto Zombies is. I really do want it to be fun and enjoyable for everyone and anyone. But I also want to build in this ability to use the game as a tool, at least to get you started. And for this, I developed this idea, or came up with this idea called loot box learning. Everyone loves loot boxes. They're basically like gambling, but in games, and so it's legal for little kids to play them and to gamble, which is kind of sad. But it's also a great opportunity for learning. And so the idea that I had for loot box learning was, okay, you're going to open loot boxes. You're going to come across treasures as you play this game. And in DadBod, it's a cell phone or a phone that you pick up and your wife calls you and asks you a question, just so we could tie in the whole DadBod aesthetic. But the basic idea is if you can answer the question that is given when you open this loot box, you can amplify whatever that loot box is going to give you and essentially speed your way to victory. Amplify your trajectory, win faster, get further, beat out the competition. Which means that if you know whatever concept the questions are, I guess maybe not concept, maybe the topic is a better word. If you know the topic very well that the questions are asking you about, you can do very well in that game mode. And so I'm designing the game so that, one, you can choose different mini games, and two, you can choose different question sets for those mini games, So if you want to learn about Pact, you can learn about Pact. There's a question set for Pact. Pact 101, Pact 102, Pact 200 to copy university nomenclature there. If you want really just random questions about like flowers or plants, or if you want just funny questions like, does this dress make me look fat? You can also throw those in there. I'm not sure if that question has a right answer. You might have to just wait it out. Or there is no, yeah. So you're always wrong, right?
The answer is just keep your mouth shut. Don't, no yes, no. Don't go either way. Just no comment is the best answer there.
Sometimes
Even that's dangerous. Even
but
that's dangerous.
my wife asked me yesterday, is like, do I look good in this? And I was like, yes. She's
Yes,
like,
yeah,
are you lying? And I was like,
maybe.
maybe. No, I don't think so. She's like, she squints at me. I was like, dang it. She caught on way too fast. But yeah, so that's the basic premise of DadBod. And we can create competitions and tournaments based on play this level with this question set. We'll measure your time, or however, right now it's time based, but if it's point based, we can do lots of different things with that. And people who are really, really good at Pact might do very well at the game because they know how to answer those Pact questions or whatever question set exists.
I really love that idea. There's a game I've been playing on my mobile that's kind of doing the same thing, called Coin World or some Coin Hunt World, and it's a AR game where you go around and there's all these vaults that you like have to walk up within a couple meters of a vault that are usually like Pokemon Go are placed in, like parks and historical spots around your town. And when you get there, it asks trivia questions. And gives you 3 different categories, and one of the categories will be like arts or celebrity, and one's like cryptocurrency, and then you have to answer a question within a certain amount of time, and then you get rewarded at these different vaults, either in-game currency type things that they use in-game to build stuff, or they get actual Bitcoin or Ethereum or things like that. Any thoughts in the future of incorporating actual reward system into the game, so people could win either like KDA, or if you maybe bring your Sterling coin over to Kadena and your Stir token and have it over here maybe?
So we definitely plan on having our own proprietary token for DadBod. Not sure what it's going to be called yet, but ranked game modes will have rewards for those who win. Got to make sure that everything is working properly, that the game itself can't really easily be hacked, that leaderboards are always correct. And so in order to pay out the appropriate individuals, those who are actually good at the game, can answer those questions and stuff, we need the stage 1 and phase 1, I guess, of this is to build out the unranked game modes so the people are just coming and they're playing. And then once we have it fleshed out to the point where we're confident that the game itself is secure and able to track winners appropriately, we can release ranked game modes where it's either tournament based or it's season based or both, or there's plenty of options, plenty of directions we could go there. But we just track players on a weekly or tournament base, and then those who win, they receive tokens.
Now,
that is definitely something we want to do.
Now, the NFT itself, is that going to be like, for example, if I mint a specific NFT, that going to be like my character in game? And how is the NFT linked directly to the game? So let's say if I own 10 DadBods, am I going to be able to choose between 10 different characters to play in game, or how is this all going to tie together?
Yes. So every single DadBod NFT is an in-game playable character. You get to choose the one you want to play with. Every single one of them actually is the DadBod itself is just the genetics. When you mint a DadBod, you also receive items with him, and each of those items is also a Marmalade NFT. You, as the player, can choose. You can unequip those items, equip them to different DadBods. So let's say I mint 10 DadBods, and like this DadBod has a really awesome jacket that I like, and this DadBod has a really awesome outfit that I really like, and this DadBod has a dope hat. you can unequip those items from all those different DadBods and equip them to one that you really like. He's got maybe a scar over his eye or something like that, and you're like, yeah, I like this guy. Let's give him that awesome hat, that great outfit, this cool jacket. Maybe give him Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, and a lightsaber, you know? So you have the ability to customize your NFT quite a bit. And that's what I spent this week. The smart contracts already facilitate all of this. So when you mint your DadBod, all of the items that are for your DadBod are also minted at the same time. The game will obviously need to incorporate unequipping and equipping different items, and each of those will be a smart contract transaction. So that's a little bit of a ways out, but the initial DadBod mint, where you get your playable character with all of his items looking cool, that's there. It exists already, and he just drops straight in game. You're good to go.
Nice. So it sounds like the game is going to be the interface for all of this stuff. You're going to be incorporating like you pretty much log into the game, and then you can choose what layers or attributes you want to add onto your specific character, and you're going to be able to choose. So like if I own 10 different DadBods, each of those DadBod NFTs are going to come with a bunch of different items, and I'll be able to mix and match them all around within the infrastructure of the game. Is that what you're saying, pretty much?
A little bit. Let's try to be more specific. So if I unequip a hat from one of my DadBods, he no longer has that hat, and his image will update, right? So you could essentially make a DadBod naked if you wanted to, and just unequipped all of his items and equip him to a different genetic DadBod that you like more. And so there's also an important distinction to make between a DadBod and just a normal bod. And in our game docs, we've documented this out, but there's a limited number of DadBods. And in order to play the game, you need to have what we call a bod. So a DadBod is a bod, but it's also a unique NFT that grants you 20% ownership, essentially, of any of the revenue that we make as the DadBod DAO. So that's DadBod. Let's see if I can describe this in a way that makes sense. Then you have bods. So let's say not all 9,001, maybe 10,000. All 10,000 of the DadBods have been minted. If I want to play the game, I still need to have a bod. I can't play the game unless I get a DadBod, unless I have a bod, right? And so we're going to set it up so that anyone can purchase a bod. They could design their bod. They can choose the hair color, eye color, genetics, all that good stuff, and mint their own bod, which gets them access to the game. Let's say that costs 10 KDA. We, the DadBod DAO, we get 8%, 80% of that, so 8 KDA. The remaining 2 KDA is distributed among the 10,000 DadBod holders. So if I own, let's say, 100 bods, that's 1% of the 2 KDA, so I would get 0.02 KDA. And that's for every single person who buys a bod. And our end goal is to make this game, like, we want it to be big. We want to bring as many people in here as possible. We'd love it if the community hops on board. And obviously, anyone who owns bods, it's in their best interest to get or a DadBod, I should say, one of the OG DadBods. It's in their best interest to get others to come and play and join and buy because they get paid for that. The final step of this is the items that you have are actually also, because they're NFTs, the same rules apply. In game, there will be an item shop. If I want to equip my bod with the coolest of items, I want to give him Mjolnir's hammer, a lightsaber, this really cool jacket, I can purchase NFTs or purchase items from the item shop, but they're essentially duplicates of, I'm going to call them the OG items that were minted at the time of like the DadBod mint, those original 10,000. And the same rules apply. Let's say it costed 1 KDA to purchase this item. 20% goes to all of the item holders, and the 80% goes to DadBod DAO. So we're really trying to create an ecosystem that benefits the original holders. Every single one of those DadBods is a playable character. Every single items you have can potentially make you quite a bit of money. I'm really excited for all of it.
It sounds like you've definitely taken your time to think this through, and it sounds like it's definitely going to be something that. So, from what I'm understanding, the DadBod NFT collection is going to be kind of the catalyst that starts everything, and that it's going to set the first group of characters, the first people who can access the games, but also will give them utility throughout the then function and lifetime of the entire game completely. And that once those 10,000 are minted out, then other people can still play the game, but they'll be buying kind of like a reproduced NFT, but they can choose like which kind of settings they want, kind of a build your own character that mints a fresh NFT right then and there kind of thing. That's kind of the idea. And that those NFTs that are getting minted after the 10,000 are what the 10,000 people share the royalty pools of. That
Correct.
pretty much correct? Awesome.
Yep.
And then now, what about second place sales for the 10,000? Are you going to be offering a marketplace for that, or integrating the collection into one of the existing marketplaces?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that. Let's see.
Because people are going to
It
want
would
to
likely,
turn and, like, depending on what your mint price is going to be, people are going to want to flip them, right, and try to make a quick couple bucks. So definitely something to think about.
yeah. I would say that we'll have a shop in game that will let people purchase DadBods.
And list that.
It won't be the item shop.
People
Yeah.
will be able to list them too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, I haven't thought about that, but that seems like the most straightforward approach to that. I'd love to keep everything in game, so all of your interactions with the chain are in game. All of your purchases are in game. I really want you in the game, interacting and playing and coming daily to check on your bod, to play the mini games, to learn, etc.
Now, you just mentioned something of checking on your bod. I noticed looking through the site and through the gameplay that you can have different bods. Pretty much the way I kind of looked at it was like those old Tamagotchi things, where if you didn't take care of them, they got fat, and if you did take care of them, they got, buff and stuff like that. Can you explain a little bit more about what that is all about?
Yeah, so we actually were inspired by Tamagotchi there. Every dad bod, well, say, the core of the game is your dad bod and how much of a dad bod he is. If he's too fat, he's not going to do super well in the mini games. If he's too ripped, for some reason, he's also not going to do super well in the mini games. You got to have that perfect bod. And we have this slider essentially that just kind of dictates where your dad bod currently is on that spectrum. If you're smack in the middle, you're the perfect bod. You got the perfect dad bod. If you are if you're too ripped, you have like a god bod. And if you're too fat, you got the potato bod. And we're not 100% sure how that's going to affect you in game yet. Potato bod, it's like you'll be slower. You can't run as fast. God bod, it might be something like you move too fast or something of this nature. Just things like that to kind of make it fun. But yes, so you'll kind of be hopping into the game every day, and the goal is to not let your bod like go too far off the straight and narrow of you need to be the perfect dad bod. Otherwise, why are you here? And if you keep that and maintain it, then you'll do very well in the mini games.
Kind of sounds like this is all stuff that wouldn't be possible without Pact, because it sounds like a lot of this is going to involve your NFT metadata being altered often, quite often, and updated and updated and updated. So like things like when you were saying how you might tie an in-game currency to it, and people with the leaderboards and stuff, and a way to make sure that people aren't scamming it, would it not just be easiest to tie their leaderboard points right to their NFT itself and linked like right to their wallet, so that a certain wallet address, it's pretty much the leaderboard would be by wallet address? Just trying to
That's a good question. I definitely say you're right that this probably wouldn't be possible without something like Pact. I would say that I would never want to try and build this on an EVM, an Ethereum-based blockchain. It would be far too expensive unless I was trying to create some layer 2 that would handle things and roll it up. And that's definitely possible, but that's a lot of work. And I don't really want to do that right now. So the cheapness of Pact makes it possible for me to do a lot of things on chain that I wouldn't be able to do otherwise due to cost restraints. I would argue that there are a couple of blockchains that are rather, I don't want to say novel in their approach, but that have feeless transactions, such as EOS and Hive, where you stake funds and those staked funds give you resource credits on chain. But those are also brand new, and every time I've tried to work with them, it's been like, oof, it's quite some overhead here, and I don't really want to deal with that. EOS writes their smart contracts in C++, and I'm like, I don't know why you guys decided this, but that's probably the worst decision I've ever seen someone make on the planet. So if you're looking at memory leaks, that's one of the best languages to make some memory leaks in.
Yep.
And I can't imagine memory leaks being good for your blockchain.
That's even something you see that even in AAA video game development, that they're still using those kind of things and causing memory leak. You think people would learn, just stop.
I mean, Unreal is based on C++. I can't I won't argue against the speed. Like you can definitely make amazing things with C++. And some AAA games need that. They need that power. And they're willing to take the extra time to make it work. I don't need that. I don't need that power. So totally fine abstracting some things away. But back to Pact, the cheapness. Pact is by far, Kadena, I should say, is by far the cheapest smart contract platform I'm aware of that is functioning right now. And my ability to expand to multiple chains and run DadBod on chains 1 through 5, for example, so that if chain 1 gets clogged up, I can just run things on chains 2, 3, 4, and 5 that's going to be amazing. And I'm very excited to make that work. There's a lot of complexities that go into multi-threading a chain, but it's fun.
That was actually going to lead me into where I was going to go next, is what you've been kind of working on the side, outside of DadBod, and showing on your Twitch things of making almost kind of making the chains talk to each other and making that actually a reality, because that's been a lot of the things that the Canadian community, it's one of the things that I never really agreed with them always saying of, oh, we have all this amazing transaction per seconds and blah 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 because of our 20 chains. But in reality, it's false, because the chains don't talk to each other. You are literally running a whole bunch of layer 1s that are separate from each other. And until it makes it so that if I go to, for example, KD Swap and have my coins on chain 5, I don't need to move them to chain 1 first. They need to have that in the background. So let's talk a little bit more about your thoughts on that and what you've been working on.
My thoughts, huh? Let's see. First off, the chain web in and of itself, and the power that Pact brings with the multi-step smart contracts, so that you could make cross-chain transactions all happen on chain and mathematically prove those cross-chain, mathematically approve essentially cross-chain transaction, is insanely powerful. That's kind of step 1, honestly, is the ability to bridge tokens. On every single Pact chain can be bridged to another, Kadena chain can be bridged to another chain, all on chain. That doesn't exist anywhere else. That is amazing, and is a requirement for anything you want to do cross chain. Now, the biggest issue that you run into is like you just said, every single chain is they have their own repository of information, essentially. And every chain is unaware of what's happening on other chains, which at this point in time leads you to either do two things. One, you create Web2 glue that kind of duplicates information across chains. As long as it's not tokens, right? You can't duplicate tokens. Otherwise, on chain, like if I duplicated your tokens on chain one, all the others, I'd multiply your money by 20. But let's say, for example, if I have an NFT, proving that I have ownership of that NFT for every single chain is valuable, so that I only have to query one chain and know, hey, this guy owns an NFT. We're good to go. So the next step, honestly, is creating a common repository of information for all of the chains that each chain can query and mutate to essentially keep the state of all the chains not separate. Like I said, you can do that with Web2 glue right now, but it's not super great. The best solution would be to do something similar to what Sui has done, which is, I don't know if you know Sui, but they're a new blockchain coming out that they've made some pretty cool advancements as far as the language is able to know what data you're working with and say, is this a simple transaction or is it simple one? I can execute it immediately because I know that transaction isn't going to affect the rest of the ecosystem. It's in its own little enclosed bubble, such as I'm minting an NFT. It's not going to change much. It might increment a counter, which means these 5 transactions are going to be affected by it, but the other 120,000 that are happening, I don't care. They can go off on their business, and these 5 I can handle in its own little thread. And so Sui having that global structure of information where all of them can query the same store is very nice, and Kadena needs something like that for all of these chains to really be awesome. On being completely honest, I don't know how they're going to do it. The language move is designed in such a way that you're able to detect what pieces of information are going to be modified when you run the transaction. And I suspect you can definitely do the same thing with Pact, but it's going to be a lot of work, and I'm very curious to see how they're going to tackle that problem.
Well, I think we have to wait to see what Doug's IntelliSend technology that he's working on. He's also working on something along the same lines, so you never know what might come in the future. But it does definitely it definitely needs to happen some way and somehow, because that is what's going to. I find the biggest hurdle for people getting into Kadena is the 20 chains themselves. The whole, this app runs on this chain, this app runs on this chain, and just making that so that that is not even a question for people is definitely the way I see Kadena taking its step into the mainstream. It's an amazing thing, and it's that the 20 chains is there and the whole cross web architecture. It's just a matter of putting that architecture behind a pretty wall, so that the people don't need to know what's going on in the background. They just need to know that when I sign into this DApp, no matter what, it's going to be able to pull my funds from where it needs to pull them from. So going into the future of DadBod, have you thought about integrations into different things like possibly mobile wallets, maybe possibly having an iframe for people to be able to completely integrate your game even itself into the wallet, or even just ways for that to be happening? Have you been putting much thought into that?
I hadn't thought of letting people integrate my game into the wallet itself. Um, I have put a lot of thought into how you interact with the game and authenticate yourself and prove that you have these NFTs so that you can essentially log in. And for me personally, I believe the Wallet Connect V2 is going to be the best solution. The ability to use universal/deep links to open up the wallets, validate and pass back the addresses to the game is going to be the way to interact. And if my game is on the web, then I mean we're good to go. You can log as long as you have your phone, you pull up the game on the website, it pops up a QR code, you scan the QR code with your phone, boom, you're set, you're off the races. It pulls in all your dad bods, you choose the one you want to play with, and you're ready to go. You can play for any computer on the planet. Um, that is how I plan on making DadBod accessible and playable from anywhere.
So right now, the people who have whitelists are able to, and OG are able to play the game that you've made. Like the game that you've made right now is not a final version in any way of what you want the DadBod game to be, right? It's just a proof of concept kind of thing.
It really is a focus on the mini game side of things. I wanted to put together the questions, a very simple mini game, side-scrolling mini game. So yes, it might end up being a mini game in the long run, but it isn't the main like take care of your bod, make sure he's not going off the deep end either way. It's not any of that. It is just play this game, see how it feels, see how it looks, give me some feedback, any bugs you find, all that stuff.
Now, have you, as far as feedback goes, you said you've been getting a lot of good feedback. Have you had any haters that are like, "This is fucking stupid," and, like the art sucks, and why are you bothering, and blah blah blah? Because I honestly couldn't find anything really bad to say about it. I'm a very minimalistic person. I like things that aren't crazy eccentric and that you need to go through a 20-minute demo thing just to learn how to play the freaking game, things like that. Yours is very simple. It's just pretty much side scroll, jump, not and interact. So what kind of feedback from the community have you really had?
So far nothing, no one has been like this is horrible. um I think, let's see, most of the feedback has honestly been around the questions and general playability. I didn't add a way to pause the game. Someone was like, "You need a pause button." And I was like, "You got me there. I do need a pause button. You can hit escape and restart." He's like, "Yeah, but that doesn't pause it." I'm like, "You're right. That's a major oversight on my part. I was just rushing to build something and get it out there." But I would say that most of the feedback has been on these questions are hard. And it would be nice if there was a way to like actually learn what these like what it's asking. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. There's a lot of effort that's going to go into building these questions into the game so that the materials that you need to learn the question are also in game. And that's honestly that's I'm totally fine spending a lot of time there. I And if I can create a tool that makes it very easy for you and anybody actually to create question sets that you think are valuable for teaching something and upload them into DadBod and make them available, publicly available to friends, family, etc. DadBod can suddenly become a tool for anyone who wants to learn something. Uh, and you can be the architect of their learning. You can create these courses based on questions. Be like, play this level with this question set. If you can pass it in 50 seconds, I'll give you access to the next level or something like that. Things get cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as the trivia goes, it sounds like a good way to get your community involved. Being like, what kind of questions would you like to see in the game? I personally think crypto education needs to be a part of it. Maybe some kind of mini game where you're given a situation and you have to choose what like the best outcome is. Like, like Jimmy keeps all of his money in his Binance account. What is Jimmy doing wrong? like something basic like that, or Bobby likes to take screenshots of his wallet recovery phrase. What is Bobby doing wrong? Like I could see like there'd be good examples of just basic crypto education that I feel would be very cool because people learn more from a medium where they're playing and they're involved with it. Like you said, they don't learn from just regurgitation and being told something, but when you're playing it and it's interactive and it's part of something you're doing, definitely something. And but like you said too, it also opens up an avenue of say even other projects that maybe want to have a thing that teaches them about their project. They could be like, hey, could we integrate a bunch of questions about our project and have it as a separate standalone type game in the game where people could earn, like DocuShield or something, for example, could have a section where at the end of it, if you do really well, you earn a small amount of DocuShield tokens. They could offer that kind of thing. Any thought of offering that to other projects as a way and like integrating possibly their tokens as a reward system if they want it specifically for like that kind of example?
Being honest, I hadn't thought of it, but that is a phenomenal idea. One of the end goals that I do have is that I would like it so that community members can post and publish their question sets and potentially even levels that they themselves design for others to play. And adding on the ability to pay people who complete those levels based on potentially certain criteria isn't a super big leap from that, where DocuShield can already create their own level, create their own question sets, and publish those to DadBod, and people can play those. The next step would just be, hey, DocuShield can also incentivize people playing these levels by, if you beat them in this amount of time, or if if you beat the level and you answer 80% of the questions right, for example, we'll give you DocuShield tokens. Obviously only one time only, but still, I love that idea. Definitely something we can do.
Yeah, there's definitely lots of avenues you can take with this and lots of ways you could integrate other projects and integrate lots of other things about Kadena into it. Now, one thing I always ask about new NFT projects are some projects like to integrate other examples of other NFT projects into their art or anything like that. Do you have any examples of that? Like, for example, the KD Crocs had little kitty cat tokens and stuff in their NFTs as a random trait, things like that. Any thoughts of, I don't know if you've completely finished the artwork or anything, but any thoughts of adding any like tributes to other projects or stuff within your traits?
So the question was, do we have
Into
plans to integrate other
Yeah, other
NFT
projects are
projects?
kind of other like nodes to projects, possibly maybe in the background of the games, even like have like a picture of another NFT in the background, maybe things like that.
Yeah, so short answer is yes. I've already reached out to the arcade to see if there was a kind of collaboration we could create with them. Something that I really want to do is make it possible for you to basically have an outfit or a shirt with all of your other NFTs on it. So let's say you own a kitty cat, you have a dad bod. In game, you automatically have a shirt available to you that you can equip to your dad bod with that kitty cat, or with that Kadena Croc, or with that Skelly. Any other NFT, actually, you could just equip it to your dad bod. If it's integrated in game, I can load that image in. I can whip up your shirt. You can equip it to your dad bod. And I'm really hoping that that kind of ties a lot of these other NFT projects together, and lets you create a really custom experience for your dad bod. I do think it would end up being really cool for people to have like their dad bod with a kitty cat, or their dad bod with a Kadena Croc that also has a kitty cat. I think it'd just be a lot of fun. So that is something we're looking at doing.
Awesome, because I love seeing that kind of thing in the projects, and it shows just more of the community coming together and just kind of supporting each other. And like I said, even if it be like, I'm sure like for the mini games and stuff, you can pretty much control what the backgrounds look like. So possibly even if you own a couple of NFTs yourself, you could probably just put them up as art in the game because it's your game and you're making it and they're your NFTs own. So there's just another option you could do. If you want to use anything from KPN, you just let us know. We'll give you rights to use all of our images and stuff as well. No problems there. It's just very cool to see projects working together. Now, that being said, have you had any other help from any of the other devs, like KittyCAD devs or the Babena team or anything like that? Have you been working with any of them or helped them in any way, or they helped you through like figuring out Pact and things like that?
Yeah, I would say when I was first getting into Pact, the first smart contract I went and I looked at was KittyCAD. I was trying to make an NFT, a very simple NFT contract, and KittyCAD was the place to go for that. Um, KittyCAD, I asked some questions in there, and they were able to help me out. I'd say a lot of people, most of the from my perspective, most of the OG devs have definitely helped me figure out Pact, and I'm just happy I'm able to kind of take what I've learned and turn it around and give it back out either through Twitch or YouTube or Twitter, which is what I've been doing recently. But yes, I've definitely received a lot of help knowledge-wise from different parties. Up until this point, I've been the only one programming DadBod, writing the smart contracts, importing images, all that good stuff. I'm trying to teach my wife and one of my friends how to import the assets that she draws and then animate them in Godot, which is the game engine I'm using to build the game. So, yeah.
So this game, do you have plans on possibly taking it mobile as well, or is it going to be pretty much just browser based?
I would love it. I would love for it to be mobile, as long as I can avoid the 30% fee charged by Apple. So mobile will likely not have in-app purchases. You'll have to purchase them either through a downloaded application through Steam, potentially, or on the web.
So people could, so say if you had an iPhone, you could possibly put out an app through them without the whole buying, selling in game, but then they could just go through a web browser to be able to buy those things into their wallet and then connect them to the app that way. That would be kind of the workaround, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, the phone app would simply pull in information. And honestly, I believe that the whole concept of DadBod and the need to log in daily to maintain your bod, it's important that is mobile, and easily accessible. Otherwise, people won't want to do it.
Not everyone sits in front of a computer every day, but everyone has a cell phone in their pocket. So that's definitely going to be something in the future. Definitely going to want to try to tie into, even if it is browser based, but just a mobile. Like, are you when you're building your game and stuff? Are you making it mobile browser? Like, are you aware of that and building for that as well, or is it like because like there's mobile versions of websites and desktop versions of websites. Are you building for both, or focusing mostly on like the desktop web version?
Right now, I'm focusing most on the desktop web version. The UI UX design that I'm building, and as I build, I kind of have this background thread that's like, hey, you should design it this way so that when you do go to make it and turn it into a mobile experience, it's going to be very easy. You just have to, it'll actually automatically stack itself appropriately. So I've made enough websites and mobile apps now where my brain's like, hey, you should do it this way because it'll be easier down the road. So it's not an active, like I'm actively designing it for both, but I am trying to apply all the knowledge that I have up until this point to make it easy for myself to export it to mobile when that time comes.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's definitely good to keep that in mind because, like you said, the whole checking in every day thing is going to be definitely more accessible with a mobile version, and just having it, even if it's not like, you're maybe, it may take a couple extra steps down the road to port it to mobile, but as long as you keep that in the back of the mind, because Wallet Connect is a mobile thing, right? Like, you pretty much, there's no real desktop version of well, there is a desktop version of Wallet Connect, but most people who are going to be using it are going to be using it through hopefully wallets like Koala and X Wallet and others. Hopefully soon, I'm sure. I know that us at Koala are slowly trying to work on it, but it's brand new. For people who don't know what Wallet Connect is, pretty much, you go to any dApp browser like OpenSea, any of those kind of things, you'll see one option that says Wallet Connect. And it is literally just a QR code that you scan and then sign with your private key that then connects the dApp to your wallet. So this is something that's new to Kadena, and at the same time, Wallet Connect has been working on their version 2. Version 1 for Wallet Connect is what pretty much all of the dApps use right now. And Wallet Connect 2 is this new next version of Wallet Connect that they've been working on. And that will hopefully bring a lot more security, use of ease, things like that to Wallet Connect, and make it easier for people to integrate Wallet Connect into their dApps and into their software. So hopefully not too long from now, we'll be able to get that in. But definitely going to be the future, because not everyone's going to have a Zelcore or a Chain Weaver or something like that they can connect to. Are you going to be, since your DadBod is going to be coming out fairly soon, you've pushed your mint a couple of times now. I see now it's going to be 2 days from now on the 5th, I believe you're now pushing it to. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was our first pushback. I definitely want to get the mint started. I don't care how fast it mints out. We're aiming for the long term, and actually the mint is going to be in tranches. So every 1,000 that sell out, the price will increase by 2 KDA. And the last so we have 9,001 in this public mint, and we've reserved 999 for OG dads, whitelists, competitions in the future to get a DadBod. And the 9,001 DadBod will be free for whoever claims that.
Nice.
Just 'cause it sounded fun.
Just one random one that just someone's gonna get.
And the very last one, it's gonna be free. It's gonna be
And
great.
people are gonna be watching and refreshing for that one left. And okay, I'm gonna mint that one.
Yeah. Someone's probably gonna snipe it, honestly. Like, it wouldn't be that hard to make a bot that submits a transaction at just the right time to get yourself the 9,001. So
Now let's go over how people can get involved with DadBod, can get involved with the whitelist, can get in on this. What are the avenues that they have to take?
I guess have money in X wallet on chain 1. That's where we're gonna start. We'll likely expand from there to handle multiple chains so that your assets can exist on any chain and we can deal with that. So for the initial funds on chain 1, hop into our Discord, get excited. We still have plenty of whitelist spots available, and we will be giving away whitelist spots as the mint is ongoing. Whitelist gets you 1 free, fully equipped DadBod. So I talked about items earlier. The whitelisted individuals, when they get to mint 1 DadBod for free, and he has every single item you could possibly have. He's got a hat, he's got glasses, something for the ear, an outfit, and a jacket. And like I said before, each of those items can turn into a money-making opportunity for you as more and more people join the game and more people buy those items in-game. And whitelist also gets you 25% off mints from the public mint. We also have the OG Dad going, which is you have to post a selfie with either your wife or kids, but they can barely be in the photo. That's important. We don't want to dox your kids, just you and just half of your face. That kind of came up as we do want to celebrate dads, and we believe that dads are very important. That a good father really sets the trajectory for his kids and teaches them how to be honorable, how to work hard, how to be a stand-up citizen in the global community. Not to say that mothers don't do that too, but fathers, they play a special role in the family for being just serving kids and being a role model for how to interact with other humans. And a lot of kids just don't have that. So the OG dad role is focused on fathers, solely focused on fathers, and we're totally okay with that. Someone asked, like, can we make it more inclusive? And I was like, no, we're here to celebrate dads. And I'm sorry, you're not a dad,
Will there be
but the
mom?
whitelist is.
Will there be mom bod in the future?
My wife made a mom bod for her. You can see it on the website. So, and when you pick up the phone, like when you interact with the phone, there's actually a mom bod in the top right corner with a phone. So there are mom bods. I don't think that any of them will be playable unless you get very special permission from my wife.
So the mom bods are the NPCs of your dad bod game world.
Basically, yeah.
That's awesome. That
So
is awesome. So yeah, what about if I was to submit a selfie of my sick ass dad bod? That earned me an OG role. I'm not a dad or anything, but I got the bod. Like that's got to count for something.
yeah, honestly, if you can make us laugh, like you'll probably get it.
I'm pretty good at that. I got a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
If I can make fun of myself
Yeah.
like that, then
Well, I mean, the whole idea of a dad bod, like it's there to be made fun of. And the best part about it is that dads just don't care. And they actually lean into it, right? Like we're like men are just like, oh, check me out. Like, yes.
yeah, look at my
So
gut. I
check me
earned
out.
this gut.
I worked hard for this thing.
Yeah,
There's nothing you can do to make me get rid of it.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's been great talking to you and learning about DadBot. I've been super excited and like just so totally interested in the project from the first time I saw it and was like, this is going to be something really cool. And then to learn that you were the one behind it and that you're super into Pact and you're definitely like leading the way on this. It was it reminded me too of the whole DadBot changing thing was very much like the Nightbreakers mutation thing to a whole nother level. You're just taking that to a whole nother level and showing people what all is possible using this really cool language. So definitely something that people should definitely check out and get involved with. And like you said, the best ways are probably to follow you on Twitter, either both your dadbodkin at dadbodkin Twitter or your actual personal Twitter is also really good to follow as well. It's the what?
Yeah.
It's the same as your username here, the Lozotica.
Lazodica, yeah. So you
Lozotica.
can follow us at DadPodCan on Twitter or Lazodica Long, which is my personal. You can also hop into our Discord. Um, we're on it. We're looking. We have a couple of people who are really excited about the project, who are definitely claiming their bots. And we are looking for more people who want to contribute, want to help out, want to get excited, who are excited. Come and hop in. We'd love to have you.
And also follow you on Twitch. What's your Twitch name?
Yeah, Lazodica. Everything is
Lozotica.
Lazodica.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I'll be hopping in some live streams there. You'll see my username is my old Twitter or my old Twitch handle. Masked Villain Gaming was my thing. I was mostly just a first person shooter streamer, so it was
Yeah.
quite the interesting. Twitch is an interesting place, that's for sure. Let's just say that.
I'm. It's definitely there's quite the learning curve. There's a lot to set up.
Yeah, it can be very involsive, and the more you learn and the more you set up, the more involsive it gets. I definitely got into that. I used to have all the crazy overlays, alerts, scrolling text, all that kind of stuff on my screen. But by the time I was done, I literally had my face cam in the corner that I had green screen, so it was all cut out and everything. But I just had my face cam in the corner and my logo in the top. And that was it. I had no alerts. I had no nothing. I was like, I'm done with all this crap. Like, I'm just going straight simple, straight minimalist. And it worked out. A lot of people were like, yeah, this is much better. A lot less
Yeah.
crap going on.
Yeah, I definitely lean towards simplicity. I think I created an alert that lets me know when people followed me because I like to celebrate when people follow me.
Hmm.
So it's just a little GIF of Zelda dragging a chest.
Nice. Nice.
It's like no 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 no. That's about all I did. After that, I was like, "Nah, I'm not doing any more of this. I got the following one. I'm happy. I'm good to go. Everything else can stay the little running zombie, whatever."
Yeah. The stock Streamlabs alerts.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
those. Awesome. Well, this has been absolutely awesome talking to you, Sterling. We're definitely gonna have to do this again once the mint is live and things are rolling. I definitely want to catch up again more. Make sure if you guys are watching this to go and follow all of the different socials, join the Discord, get involved, get yourselves either a whitelist or an OG role, and definitely get yourselves one of these DadBods because they're not only going to be a cool game, it's also going to be cool utility. It's going to provide you revenue source throughout as long as the game keeps going. So it's definitely something you're going to want to jump into early. And like you said, they're going to be going out in increments of 1,000. So get in on the first ones because the price is just going to go up every time after every 1,000. So you're definitely going to have, I see, a huge push. So it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and take care. Thanks, Sterling.
Yeah. Yeah.
That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at KPN, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on each project before investing. Also ensure to follow us on all our social media from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter to ensure to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.